From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Doug Ducey is now governor-elect, but what does that mean for your future? We're taking a look around the valley to see how his goals could soon be shaping Arizona policy. But Democratic representatives held on to 4 of the 9 seats, including Ruben Gallego. Find out how Gallego won District 7 and how he plans to impact Arizona. And later, this is a Phoenix bus worth stopping for. It's a mobile success unit, out to help the underprivileged change their lives and find success.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Chase Golightly. Thanks for joining us. Today, as the nation is reacting to a major Republican political shift, even President Obama is trying to make the best of a damaging election for Democrats.
To everyone who voted, I want you to know that I hear you. To the 2/3 of voters who chose not to participate in the process yesterday, I hear you too.
But here in Arizona, the Republican celebration continues with an expected sweep of the state's top races. And Cronkite News is looking into what changes Governor-elect Doug Ducey will bring to the executive office. Our reporter Michael Gordon joins us live with the outlook. Michael?
Thank you, Chase. Well, during his run for governor, Doug Ducey's campaign highlighted his experience and his success as a businessman. Today, I spoke with a local business leader to ask how he thinks Ducey's victory will impact Arizona's economy.
It's a big night. Oh, what a night. Congratulations, Doug.
From his days at Arizona State working as a local distributor for Anheuser-Busch to becoming the CEO of Cold Stone Creamery, Doug Ducey has found plenty of business success.
I want to stand on the shoulders of your legacy and take this state to the next level.
And Jeff Lascala, president of the Arizona Business Alliance, is hoping that Arizona's economy can reach that next level as Ducey takes over as governor.
I hope he runs the state like a business. You can't spend what you don't have. You either have to increase sales, so to speak, to generate more revenue, or reduce some of your expenditures.
Lascala is confident in Ducey's economic plan to improve Arizona, even though it may produce some difficult decisions.
And there are likely going to be some cuts to some things that are unpopular. And as a businessman, you have to be able to stand up and take the criticism for those.
Criticism that Lascala thinks Ducey can easily handle while enabling Arizona businesses to grow.
With his history and what he's shown so far is he'll be able to stand up, take that criticism, and still make the right decisions for the state's best interest.
But Lascala admits that he hopes Ducey refrains from earlier promises to cut taxes, choosing instead to focus on growing revenue for Arizona businesses.
I would definitely leave taxes alone as they stand right now and find out a way or figure out a way to attract more business or help small businesses open here.
We will set Arizona on a better path in keeping with the values so many of us share, whatever our background, whatever our party.
For Lascala and business owners across Arizona, the hope is that Ducey's path will lead to an improved economy. Now, one of Governor Ducey's biggest challenges as he enters office will be to cut down into Arizona's looming budget deficit. That deficit currently stands at $400 million and is projected to reach about $1 billion by 2016. In the First Amendment Forum, Michael Gordon, Cronkite News.
With the Democratic Party taking major losses yesterday during the election, I went and found out where Arizona Democrats plan to go from here.
Democrats don't have a lot of plays in the playbook right now because they don't have a voice.
The results of yesterday's election show that the Democrats have no control over Arizona's executive branch. But Garcia says that at the end of the day, that is no big surprise.
So, I mean, that is not going to change. They're used to this scenario. They were just hoping for better.
Kirsten Sinema, the winner of the U.S. House District 9, has a positive outlook at what she plans to do.
I think I'll do what I've done for many years in the past and what I'll keep doing, which is to be practical, common sense, pragmatic, work across the aisle, and most importantly, get stuff done.
The Democrats may be disappointed with how things turned out this election, but things are expected to change a lot over the next couple of years.
What we're seeing right now is just a snapshot in time. 2 years from now, it could look very different. 4 years from now, it definitely will. 10 years from now, it's completely different.
Garcia also said that in 2030, it is expected that Arizona will change from a red conservative state to a blue progressive state because of the amount of Latino voters. Reporter Lori Lyles joins us from our Washington bureau with information about our state's Democratic presence in the Capitol. Lori, Democrats Ann Kirkpatrick and Kyrsten Sinema both managed to hold on to their congressional seats. How did they manage to do that?
Well, yes, as you know, both Kirkpatrick and Sinema represent swing districts. So they were considered to be vulnerable, and Kirkpatrick in particular was considered to be highly vulnerable going into yesterday's election. But by all accounts, they ran superior campaigns and just stuck to their messages. Plus, they had financial support from the Democratic National Campaign Committees that really helped to offset some of that dark money that came from outside Arizona and benefited their opponents. When I spoke to Congresswoman Kirkpatrick earlier today, she said she gave all the credit to voters in her district who she said valued honesty and hard work.
Now, voters in Arizona and the nation sent a message yesterday. They are frustrated with gridlock and want change from Washington. When you talked to the voters, what did they tell you?
Well, Chase, I did have a chance to talk to several voters, and the frustration that they expressed was really palpable. In fact, some of them said that they were so tired of all of the campaign ads. They were really appalled by the amount of money that they saw going into campaign spending, and they felt really disenfranchised by what they see as the big money interests controlling what's happening in Washington right now. Some of them even said that they considered not voting. But in the end, they said that it was their civic duty to vote, and they would have felt too guilty if they sat on the sidelines. They felt it was important to make their voices heard.
Lori Lyles from our Washington bureau, thanks for joining us. Congressman Ruben Gallego is Arizona's only new member of the United States Congress. As Brittany Bade reports, even though he just won yesterday, Gallego already has plans for a long haul.
I'd be very derelict of my duty if I just decided to run for Congress or Senate in 2-4 years.
Arizona Congressional District 7's new congressman plans on working in Washington for the next 20 years.
There's just a lot of work that needs to get done, and I need to be doing it at the congressional level.
Gallego says he plans to work at the national level, much like he did at the state level.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be trying to work my way as fast into leadership.
Gallego rose to assistant minority leader after his first term in the Arizona State House.
It's just, other people, that are also elected to office. So it's not, I'm just going to be here and do what I normally do.
Gallego says his time in the minority at the state level prepared him for the same situation at the national level.
When it was time to fight, I fought. When it was time to find a good compromise and reach across the aisle, then you reach across the aisle.
Some say Gallego's fighting spirit will help him in Washington.
Will probably actually help him because it will get him brought to the attention of other members.
He has to show that as the new generation of Latino leaders, that he also can be an effective spokesperson, not just for the Latino community, but for all his constituents.
Being shy about fighting for his constituents' needs is not an option for Gallego.
I'm not your normal member of Congress, I'll tell you that right now.
In Washington, D.C., Brittany Bade, Cronkite News.
Gallego says he's a different kind of representative. For one, he's one of few Latinos in Congress. Reporter Justin McDuffie from our Washington bureau spoke with advocacy groups in Washington to see what kind of impact the Latino vote has in elections like this.
Democrats have to learn the lesson is that you can't take Latinos for granted.
That was the message from Latino advocacy groups a day after they were steamrolled by Republicans for control of both houses of Congress. Latino communities can make the difference in an election, but candidates and parties must appeal to them on issues that are important to their community.
Turnout could have been better, and we need to continue to work on that.
The panel discussed how Latinos care strongly about the issues of immigration, the economy, and healthcare, and that's what gets them to the polls.
But it's also very clear that the reason Latinos voted was to stand with their own community.
The 2016 election may be 2 years away, but advocates say the process to get more Latino voters engaged for future elections begins today. In Washington, Justin McDuffie, Cronkite News.
Last night in Tucson, reporter Elle Johns covered another late-night battleground. Martha McSully and Ron Barber are in one of the closest races for the region, for Congressional District 2.
Republicans and Democrats rarely agree on political issues. The same can be said for how they feel students should be taught. Many, such as candidate David Garcia, believe Common Core is the answer.
We count our assessments as 96% of how we evaluate schools, 96%. And I think that's too much of an emphasis.
Candidates, along with their supporters, were celebrating.
You have seen your last political ad of the season. We need to celebrate that.
We love this place because this is our home. And we say Arizona first, Arizona first. And that's what we're going to fight for in Washington.
At the Sheraton, Republican Martha McSally said her military training helped prepare her for the race.
You know, we can go for long periods of time with very little sleep, you know, stay focused on the mission, still think clearly. And even for tonight, I mean, I mentally prepared myself for any outcome. And so now I'm ready to just celebrate with all those who have supported and wait to see what the voters have decided.
Across town at the Marriott, Democratic supporters for Ron Barber were cheering for his past accomplishments.
What a great day for Arizona when we finally connect marriage to law.
Even with the celebrations underway, one of the issues still on both candidates' minds was the economy.
We're here because we value good-paying jobs and small businesses that grow the economy for everyone, not just the wealthiest 1%.
We need fresh blood. We need a new generation of people that are going to govern and solve problems, get our economy going again.
You may remember back in 2012, the race was also very close. In fact, both McSally and Barber attended freshman lawmaker orientation in Washington. In Tucson, L. Johns, Cronkite News.
While the race in Congressional District 2 was one of the most heated, the results are still pending. Part of that has to do with the problem of in-vote tabulation. Reporter Winnie Mancini looked into the ballot error. Winnie, what happened in Cochise County that led to the issue?
The main issue is a technical glitch that occurred in Cochise County last night. Early ballots from Cochise County had to be transported to Graham County for processing. According to Cochise County election officials, a discrepancy was found between the early ballot voting machines count and the hand count of the early ballots. Officials say about 85 ballots were involved.
And where do things stand now with the voted count?
Graham County Election Director Judith Dickerson said that Cochise County officials finished using Graham County's election counting machines at about 9:30 this morning. But all of this leaves the race still really close. With all precincts reporting, the current District 2 race puts Ron Barber at just over 49% and Martha McSally at just over 50%. But we'll have to wait until later to hear the final count. Until then, live at the Arizona State Capitol, Winnie Mancini, Cronkite News.
While the race for governor may have had a clear-cut winner, other candidates didn't have such a definite result. The race for school superintendent is still hotly contested, and as Cronkite reporter Colton Krolak tells us, both candidates are divided strongly on a key issue: how Arizona students are taught.
Republicans and Democrats rarely agree on political issues. The same can be said for how they feel students should be taught. Many, such as candidate David Garcia, believe Common Core is the answer.
We count our assessments as 96% of how we evaluate schools, 96%. And I think that's too much of an emphasis on multiple choice type tests.
Common Core advocates want there to be a national standard.
What we really need are clear goals. That's where the Common Core state standards come in. They're like a total sea change in education. Consistent, strong, clear benchmarks for English language arts and math.
But his opponent thinks otherwise.
I'm against Common Core for many reasons, because number one, it's not going to prepare our children the way it needs to. It's untested, unproven. It hasn't been shown to be internationally benchmarked.
The advantage to the present set of standards is it allows us to benchmark our schools relative to other schools in other states so that we know where Arizona stands.
But that we have standards now that we can't control, we can't change, and we can't make sure they work for Arizona, that's a huge problem for Arizona education.
Election results are still being determined, and they will determine the future of education here in Arizona. In Phoenix, Colton Krolak, Cronkite News.
In another race that is too close to call, here we have the numbers for the superintendent race. It looks like Diane Douglas is in the lead with 51.2% of the vote, while David Garcia is behind with 48.7%. To follow all of our 2014 election coverage, you can visit us online at cronkitenewsonline.com. When we come back, this is no ordinary RV. Find out how this mobile program is changing lives on the streets of Phoenix. And later, Ebola has the nation on edge, but there's something else you're far more likely to get. The flu can be deadly, and doctors are speaking out to keep it controlled.
Brothers and sisters, can you tell me where to go?
The women were breaking the glass ceiling.
That just thrilled me. We're traveling back in time to help solve family mysteries. No.
Wait, that's
Amazing.
A new deal for the American people.
We wouldn't be who we are without them.
I just gotta get on back to my home at any cost.
Who were the people that got us from there?
A world without glass, clean drinking water, time, or light.
To here.
These were hobbyists, garage inventors, and obsessive tinkerers. These are people who actually made the modern world, who set off an amazing chain reaction of ideas.
It's the story of How We Got to Now with Stephen Johnson, coming in October, only on PBS.
I'm standing up for myself and for other people like me.
Wow. This is a bit odd.
Are you okay?
It's kind of insane, but in a good way.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. It's pretty hard to miss. A massive RV takes to the streets, but if you take a look on the inside, it's not built for road trips. Cronkite News reporter Megan Thompson is live in downtown Phoenix with a push that's revving up success for job seekers.
That's right. Start your engines to speed up your job search. Such a push by one organization bringing the tools you need to succeed right on the road.
We are ready to go.
A couple times a week, Bob Smith gets up bright and early.
We have to get this party rolling.
He turns on the tunes and steers this big rig into needy communities across Phoenix.
The main thing I like about my job is that I can give back to the community.
You see, this RV is different than your typical mobile home. It's a spin-off from St. Joseph the Workers' offices. Inside, you'll find computers, clothing, and a job developer. The tools many underprivileged people may need to get back into the workforce. But this transformed RV isn't just handing out jobs as it drives down the road. It's about giving people the tools they need to succeed so they can take the wheel and move forward. And after Bob's done setting up the computers and getting the paperwork, he's ready to turn from driver into greeter, now just waiting for someone to come on in.
Morning. They've seen me at my best, and they've also seen me at my worst.
Robert Backey opened the door to the RV, hoping it will open a door to a new opportunity.
My children are, they're rooting for me. They're in my corner.
He moved to Arizona for his kids, but it was a substance abuse problem that set him back personally and professionally. Now he wants to show them he can do it.
So they want to see Dad do good. My grandkids want to see Papa do good.
And Bob says the people that are successful are motivated, just like Robert. So when he turns the keys to hit the road again, Bob knows the big rig has made a lasting impact, not only on the people he's helping, but also himself.
I didn't have a sense until I got into it as to the amount of satisfaction that this job would give me.
And it's that passion that's a driving force in the community. Right now, there's only one mobile success unit on the road. There is talk of more, but St. Joseph the Worker just wants to make sure this one runs smoothly. Live in downtown Phoenix, Megan Thompson, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Megan. And if you want to learn more about where the mobile success unit will be parked each day, we put a link on our website at cronkitenewsonline.com. Now let's hand it over to Sierra Oshman with a look at what's coming up next on Cronkite News.
Getting the flu may be more dangerous than you think. We will break down how likely it is for a case of the flu to turn deadly and what you can do to protect yourself. And a popular northern Arizona ski resort is now under new management, and this change will benefit its pass holders. We tell you what you can expect this winter season.
News doesn't stop on Friday at 7:30 at night.
PBS NewsHour Weekend is kind of a natural next step. The NewsHour's been committed to being available on air or online, and now weekdays or weekends. There's no shortage of news that's out there, but why do people come to us? To give them some context and analysis that they can't find somewhere else.
PBS NewsHour Weekend, only on PBS. Check local listings.
These extraordinary Americans all share one thing in common, a past they never knew until now.
It's incredible.
In his new season on PBS, Henry Louis Gates Jr. helps them uncover the truth about where they come from.
I can't believe that these documents even exist.
Wow. Get to know them as they discover who they really are.
That's pretty amazing.
Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. starts Tuesday, September 23rd at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.
I'm free. I'm free. And freedom tastes of reality.
Skiers can expect to see a few changes this season now that the Snowbowl Ski Resort has been purchased by a Colorado investor. I got to speak with Jason Stratton about the mountain's new ownership.
A Colorado investor announced on Friday that he will be purchasing Snowbowl Ski Resort up in Flagstaff. Along with his Arizona purchase, James Coleman also purchased the Purgatory at Durango Mountain Resort. Adding to Sipapu and Pajarito Mountain in New Mexico, this makes it the largest mountain collective in the Southwest.
One change for this immediate winter will be pass holders at Arizona Snowbowl will get free unlimited skiing at both Pajarito as well as Sipapu.
Both management and prices will stay the same, so really, Snowbowl skiers should only expect to see beneficial changes in the near future.
Certainly as Mr. Coleman gets to know Snowbowl, he's got to have a priority list of what needs to be implemented first when it comes to a master plan, and hopefully if all goes well, we have a good winter, we'll maybe see a new chairlift next summer.
Coleman has been managing for nearly 15 years now, and since his arrival at Sipapu, he has made it the fastest growing resort in New Mexico.
Really looking forward to seeing the new energy that Mr. Coleman has to bring into the company and see where we're going to go from here.
Snowbowl got a little over 2 inches of snow this weekend. Skiers can look forward to the mountain opening on Friday, November 28th. Let's head over to El Johns to see if that winter weather is on its way here.
Actually, no, we're not going to experience any of the cooler temperatures. We're actually 4 degrees warmer than the average today. Right now out in Phoenix, we have 84 degrees and sunny skies, perfect November weather. Across the state, we're also experiencing warmer than usual weather. Out in Yuma, it's 84, up in Bullhead City, 81, and down in Tucson, we have 76 degrees. Now, as you can see, we are the warmest part of the country right now at 84 degrees, but also experiencing that heat is Miami. There's at 77, up in Atlanta, 65, and out in San Francisco, 75 degrees. Now tonight we are going to cool off and get down into the 50s, but it's going to be a clear night, so a great night to get out and see some of those stars. Now tomorrow we're going to heat back up. Out in Yuma, it's going to be 85, in Bullhead City, 80 degrees, down in Tucson, 79, and in Phoenix, we're going to get back up to 81. Now let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. As you can see, the weather is going to be perfect for getting outside. It's going to be in the mid-80s, except for this weekend. We're going to heat up to almost 90 on Sunday, but then it's going to cool back down. For Cronkite weather, I'm Elle Johns.
Flu season is right around the corner, and even though Ebola has been the biggest health concern recently, reporter Sydney Schumann explains why we should pay a little bit more attention to the flu.
In terms of the threat to most of us, we're not paying enough attention to flu, and maybe in a sense a little bit too much to Ebola.
Ebola is a very real and scary threat, but to most people the threat of getting the flu is much greater, and it kills thousands of people in the U.S. each year.
Last year there were over 100 children who died, and so when you compare that with the 1 or 2 cases we're hearing about with Ebola at this time, we aren't paying enough attention to flu.
The flu is very easy to spread, which is what makes it so difficult to combat.
One of the things you notice in the discussion of Ebola is they kind of know when somebody is sick, and they aren't contagious until they're sick. That's not the way it is with flu. You can transmit, you can pass on flu well before you're feeling ill.
Dr. Beecham says the most effective way to beat the flu is to get a flu shot.
We all have a responsibility, frankly, to get a flu shot. If it isn't for our own protection, it may be for our parents or our grandparents or for our little children.
And the flu doesn't just impact our health.
Flu is very expensive. In this country, it probably represents about $87 billion annually, and in the neighborhood of 17 million lost workdays.
For those who say they get sick after the flu shot, Dr. Beecham says you may get symptoms, but they should pass in a day or two. In Phoenix, Sydney Schumann, Cronkite News.
You know what, Chase, have you gotten your flu shot yet?
You know what I have? I try to actually get my flu shot every year. You know, just try to stay healthy.
I've gotten mine at the Walgreens right down the street.
Oh, yeah,
Make
it's a
it
good
very
place to get it.
accessible. Flu shots can be received at most major pharmacies and stores for free with insurance.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thank you for joining us. Good night.